When a Nigerian child reaches the final year of secondary school, what we call SS3, it is a year of excitement and anxiety. The dream is to work hard and pass the SSCE and JAMB examinations and gain admission into one tertiary institution or another. But the World Bank, in a new report, stated that 74% global growth in youth population aged 18 to 23 will majorly be in Nigeria and 9 other countries from 2015 to 2035. The report, titled Steering Tertiary Education Towards Resilient Systems That Deliver for All, emphasized the need for smart investments and reforms in tertiary education systems. According to the report, there will be 377 million students by the year 2030, 471 million by 2035, and 594 million by 2040, an increase of 281% over the 30 years from 2000 to 2030. A huge number of these students will be in Nigeria. So it is clear that Nigeria will be needing an increasing number of tertiary institutions, especially if it desires to breed a new generation of thinkers who are suitable for a knowledge economy. But at a time in human history when disruptive technologies daily shape economic development through innovation, which only research can touch off, the need to maintain and improve quality and standards in both existing and new tertiary institutions cannot be overstated. It is not an either-or situation. We simply must achieve both. The Tertiary Education Trust Fund stands firm as a pillar of hope, standing in the gap as an interventionist agency working to prepare the nation for technological and industrial transformation through education. These are the chronicles of the journey to institutionalize research and development in Nigeria. Hello, and welcome to this edition of TETFund, The Paradigm Shift. I am Stanley Bentu. The hallmark of productivity is improvement in quantity and quality. Now, if one of these standards is sacrificed for the other, the targeted development is compromised. This argument is so valid in our tertiary education sector today. The demand for higher education in Nigeria, spurred by urgent national developmental needs, is enormous. Hence the need for more universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. The federal government is aware of this and continues to play its part in ensuring that Nigeria can keep up the pace of educating its youthful population. Now, just last year, President Muhammadu Buhari had approved 18 billion naira for the takeoff of 4 new specialized universities of technology and also of health sciences. While announcing the establishment of the new institutions, the Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, said that the objective is to stimulate rapid technological transformation of the country. One of the states in Nigeria that has been investing heavily in tertiary education is Ebonyi State. The governor of the state, David Umahi, paid a visit to TETFund to solidify partnership. Now, we have all of the details of that visit, and we'll bring them to you right after we take a look at Ebonyi State and its tertiary education subsector.
Ebonyi is a state in the southeast geopolitical zone of Nigeria, bordered to the north and northeast by Benue State, Enugu State to the west, Cross River State to the east and southeast, and Abia State to the southwest. Named for the Ebonyi River, a large part of which is in the state's south. Ebonyi State was formed from parts of Abia and Enugu State in 1996 and has its capital as Abakaliki. The state has an estimated population of nearly 2.9 million as of 2016. Economically, Ebonyi State is based around agriculture, mainly of yams, rice, oil palm and cassava crops. A key minor industry is mining due to lead, zinc and limestone deposits around Abakaliki, and locally handmade baskets of various sizes at Ntezi. Ebonyi has the joint 20th highest human development index in the country and numerous institutions of tertiary education. Tertiary institutions in Ebonyi State include Akano Federal Polytechnic, Federal College of Agriculture, Ishagu, Ebonyi State University, Federal University Ndufu Alikekwo, Ebonyi State College of Health and Midwifery, Uburu, Federal College of Education, Isu, and King David College of Medicine, Uburu, Ebonyi State. The Ebonyi State University was founded in 1999 in Abakaliki. The university's medical faculty was established in 1991 as the university's Faculty of Health Sciences. Many of its facilities were developed in response to a Guinea worm pandemic. The Abakaliki Specialist Hospital, created for this purpose, was remodeled to become Ebonyi State University's primary teaching hospital. It was subsequently granted accreditation by the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, MDCAN, for the training of medical students and resident doctors. Since it became part of the state university, the medical school has received considerable funding from the Ebonyi government. There are other faculties including Agriculture and Natural Resource Management, Arts, Basic Medical Sciences, Sciences, Clinical Medicine, Education, Health Science and Technology, Law, Management Sciences, Physical Sciences, Social Sciences, Engineering and Environmental Science, and the School of Postgraduate Studies. The establishment of the King David College of Medicine is born out of the desire to enhance the quality of manpower development in the health sector and the improvement of quality of healthcare in Nigeria and in the West African sub-region. The university was named after the Governor of Ebonyi State by the Ebonyi State House of Assembly in recognition of the governor's contributions to infrastructure development and for exemplary leadership. In November of 2021, Professor Jesse Neke, the Vice Chancellor of King David University, said the National University Commission had approved 17 programs to kickstart academic activities in the institution. The school targeted about 1,500 students for a start and listed some of the programs to include medicine and surgery, physiotherapy and pharmacy, public health, anatomy, biomedical engineering, dentistry and dental surgery, human nutrition dietetics, industrial chemistry, computer science, and medical laboratory, amongst others. Governor Umahi says that he is targeting international standards for tertiary institutions in his state. The question that remains is, how can TETFund be of service?
Well, universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education can be devoted to assisting our country address developmental challenges. Their mission focuses on two broad areas of development. One is the role that the production of developmental research plays. This involves providing invaluable contextualized knowledge, insights, and locally relevant recommendations for policy formulation and implementation. Solving existential problems, creating technological products, and producing new knowledge that can be adapted for economic, political, and social improvement. Developmental research projects could originate in universities, or they could be as a response to the request from private organizations or even the government, with appropriate funding attached. The other role of tertiary institutions is to develop and turn out relevant and impactful graduates with the skills, knowledge, and disposition needed to meet the requirements of the nation. Accordingly, the higher learning institutions are the factories which groom the next generation of agricultural scientists, social scientists, policymakers, business leaders, and entrepreneurs, as well as public service and other professionals. Now, it's no surprise that the Ebonyi State Governor visited TETFund for a chat concerning this. Here is the report.
The Governor of Ebonyi State, David Umahi, on the 20th of July 2022, paid a visit to the corporate headquarters of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund in Abuja, where he was warmly received by the Executive Secretary of the Fund, Architect Echono, and his management team. During the courtesy visit, the governor disclosed that over 80 billion naira had been expended by the state for the establishment of the new King David University of Medical Sciences located in Ebonyi State. He, however, stated that the reason for the visit was to congratulate the Executive Secretary on his appointment as the Chief Executive Officer of the fund, adding that his appointment as the TETFund boss will bring huge transformation.
Come and congratulate my brother for this promotion based on the jobs he has done for the country, Minister of Works and Minister of Education, and to thank him for exemplary public service. Every time you call him on phone, he picks his calls. And I say to him, it's not because I'm governor, that ordinary people have testified. And I say, look, we're passing through quite challenging moments, especially for the ordinary people. And if ordinary people cannot get help, let them get hope. And the only way they get hope is that you respond to them, because you're answerable to them. So I had to commend him, and the Minister of Education is my very close friend, and he's very, very proud of him. And I say to him, please do everything you can to fast-track projects because of the volatility of prices in the market. And he has started, to address that, and I'm very happy about that. And having worked in the Ministry of Works, it means that it's a top priority for him, because there is no price that is constant in this country within a period of 60 days. So since he has that in mind without anybody's prompting, it means we will definitely succeed where we have, failed in the TETFund program.
While commending TETFund for its intervention at the newly established universities in the country, one of which is located in Ebonyi State, the governor also solicited for a take-up fund for the King David University.
And to also thank him for the works they are doing in the new university. And of course, Mr. President graciously named the university after me. David Umahi University of Medical Sciences, one of the 7 universities that has been undertaken by the federal government. And so there, the federal government is doing an ecological project, not under TETFund, under ecological fund, but they are doing cancer center, one of the best in the country, and it's almost completed. They are also doing a renal center, infrastructure-wise, and of course the eye center, the best you can find anywhere in West Africa. And so they have done extremely very well in seeing to this project. And I'm here to say thank you to him. And of course, we have, intervention funds for the university. And before I could even ask, he had written a letter requesting the university to come up with proposal. That's how it's supposed to be. And so I'm very happy with what they have done for us, and what they will also do for us. As one of the 7 universities, we're also soliciting for take-up fund. That university will sunk over 80 billion in that university. But if it is done by any other agency, I'm sure that even 150 billion cannot do it. And I'm not boasting about that. It's something I can see and you believe. So that's why I'm here.
The Executive Secretary of TETFund, Architect Echono, in his response, praised Governor Umahi for the infrastructural transformation in the state, adding that the governor has become a standard bearer for measuring public service. Architect Echono disclosed that President Muhammadu Buhari was impressed with the world-class infrastructure put in place by the governor at the new Medical Sciences University.
We all know what state Ebonyi was in terms of its standing, both within the Southeast and even in the entire country, as one of the, if you like, disadvantaged states in terms of infrastructure, in terms of even educational facilities. But with the transformation that we've witnessed under the leadership of His Excellency, everybody is taking a cue. We have become a standard bearer for measuring public service and even the delivery of the dividends of democracy as is captured, which is also one of the reasons why Mr. President was so impressed that he developed or established such an institution with so much courage, with such edifice and provision of world-class infrastructure in a location that in fact you'll be proud of when you get to see it. And he also graciously accepted the federal government to take it over. And of course, there was no hesitation in a minute after him to immortalize such and to set an example for other governors too, those who are serving and those who will be coming on board to emulate in future. Because our country will grow, our country will develop if people commit themselves to serving us the way he has done. And we remain proud of his service. We thank you.
Underscoring the need for the medical university, the TETFund bus cited the doctor-patient ratio in Nigeria and affirmed that the nation is tired of being on the wrong end of statistics. Hence, TETFund's determination to ensure the production of right manpower for the country through tertiary education.
So we're going to be collaborating with the state government. We want to quickly see, we'll see that transition and let them begin to translate into actual benefits to our people. You know what this doctors patient ratio is, and we're tired of being on the wrong end of statistics. So we want to redress that, produce the right manpower in this country, reduce all the resources we expend annually on medical tourism, sending our citizens to various countries, so that by the time we have world-class facilities here, we'll be able to treat any ailment that and any health challenge that we face, and even become a hub for foreigners to come here, the same way India was able to accomplish. We are poised to do that in the next few years.
The Executive Secretary rounded up his presentation by recalling that the federal government had established a College of Education in Ebonyi State, as well as a Federal Technical College within the last few years, complementing the efforts of the state government.
So, we know for a fact that we need more tertiary institutions. But according to University World News, major challenges can be identified with Africa's universities and their mission to produce relevant and impactful graduates who contribute to national development. First, those African universities do not collect any empirical data about the characteristics and types of graduates that African societies and economies need for development. So, in most African universities, assessment of the effectiveness of graduates that they produce is based on hunches and whims and sheer imitation of what is happening in the West. Without data, it is difficult to know how many graduates have been produced in any one area over a period of time, how many are in the process of being produced, and how many should be produced in every academic year. What the requisite characteristics of those graduates are, and what happens to the graduates upon leaving the institutions. Of course, it is undeniable fact African societies and economies need engineers, managers, accountants, scientists, technologists, agriculturists, computer programmers, primary and secondary school teachers, and medical experts. However, For example, what type of engineers or teachers do they need in terms of knowledge, skills, and disposition? What if the engineers or teachers that African universities produce are only able to function effectively in urban settings rather than rural areas? What if the teachers that they churn out are unable to design locally relevant curricula, teaching pedagogies, and assessment strategies to prepare young people for citizenship and apprenticeship or educational progression where they live? Architect Echono emphasized this in a recent interview with The Paradigm Shift.
The policy framework is simple. Pre-production of manpower is a chain. And you should start with what are the needs of the national economy. How many people are we serving? We have a population of 200 million. Fine. You deaggregate this population to the sectors that they each belong and the roles that each players play. Some will apply to the entire population, like food. Everybody eats. Like in the health sector, we all fall sick and we need doctors and nurses. But you should be able to determine for an economy of 200 million people, how many doctors should we have? What is the doctor-patient ratio? We have international standards. When you determine that, you will ask yourself, how many are we producing? How many institutions are producing them? How many are we producing each year? How many are coming in from outside, the other institutions from other countries? How many of the ones we are producing are we losing to other countries that are offering them other conditions that are attractive, that you have this brain drain happening? So how many are left? That tells you what we describe as the skills gap. That is when you do that for all the various fields and areas and specializations, that's how you determine your manpower needs. It is also that those manpower needs that guide the policies around it, the priorities that we attach to each segment, which is why, for example, JAMB will say, okay, we have a total of 1 million spaces in our tertiary institutions. Universities have maybe 700,000. Out of the 700,000 in our universities, first you have to compare the capacity. What do we have to produce? Then with how many do we need? And you now make policies to ensure that you are producing enough for your economy. If you find that in a particular area you are overproducing, you incentivize it, you discourage it. For the areas that you don't have enough people at all, you create additional incentives for people to now move into that area. The same thing, you can also use your wage bracket to try and also do that. Because if me and you know that a particular sector pays more than others, tendency is to want to gravitate toward that area. So there are so many devices that are available and tools for management that are available. But once you have made that decision, having the right environment, creating the right environment to produce those graduates is what education is all about.
A second issue is the lack of an empirical relationship between graduate production and the solutions needed for Africa's hydra-headed development challenges. Turning out graduates does not automatically lead to solving African developmental challenges. Having a list of university graduates in various fields of expertise does not indicate that an African country is solving its problems. In fact, the solution to developmental challenges require both efficacious political and managerial action. There is a need to establish national institutions or planning frameworks that employ, coordinate, and utilize, for example, engineers for national development. Now, without these institutional or planning frameworks, there will be no impact on these developmental challenges, regardless of the number of engineers universities produce. And that is the paradigm shift. Join us again on the next edition of the program. But until then, thank you for stopping by. Good night.